Game 2 of this 5-game homestand for your Trailblazers as they look to rebound, no pun intended, to, basketball. But they look to rebound, get back in the win column after a tough loss against the Detroit Pistons just less than 24 hours ago. Should be a fun one tonight against Orlando, a team that obviously, if you remember what happened earlier this year, the Blazers went to Orlando, played a pretty good game, and then Desmond Bane, who hadn't hit a three-pointer all night long, hits one as time expires, and the Blazers lose to the Magic 115 to 112. Hopefully that is not the case tonight. The Blazers, again, looking to get back into the win column. The Orlando Magic, a team that, like Portland, did have a game last night. So 2 teams coming off the second night of a back-to-back. How that will impact either team, we will find out here in just a little bit. I know for the Blazers, their rotation is obviously going to be impacted because Robert Williams has been playing both games on the back-to-backs, and so he will be out tonight. Jeremy Grant will be out as well, still dealing with that Achilles soreness. So we'll see what happens there tonight. But for the Orlando Magic, they went in. The captain wants a pen, and I don't have a pen. Radio World, I came ill-prepared to help the captain out. How do I not have a pen? Merry Christmas, Cap. Merry Christmas. You know why it is I don't have a pen? It's because someone from one of the kiosks last week asked me for a pen, and I gave it to them, and they never gave it back. It's their fault. It's all their fault. But no, back on track. The Magic played last night against the Golden State Warriors in a game that they absolutely got just bounced hard out of Golden State. They lost to the Warriors 120-97. Meanwhile, for your Portland Trailblazers, we all know what happened. It was a game where they were down big, clawed back, and then some mental mistakes down the stretch cost them a 110-102 loss to the Pistons. So both teams coming off losses. The Magic looking to continue their decent play this year. They're at 16-13 on the year, and they have had aspirations for some time now of turning that corner and becoming one of the dominant teams in the Eastern Conference. And easier said than done, obviously. New York is quietly having another good year. Boston has been playing incredible considering that Jason Tatum's been out. And then, of course, you saw the Detroit Pistons last night, the team that is number 1 in the standings in the Eastern Conference. They improved to 23-6. But Orlando's right there. They're the 6th team in the East at 16-13. They are 5-5 in their last 10, and obviously lost that one last night to Golden State in that game. Paulo Banchero had 21 points. Steph Curry had 26 points. He has been incredible because he continues to still do Steph Curry things. But for the rest of the Magic, Wendell Carter Jr. had 9 points. Tyus Jones had 7. Desmond Bane had 20. Anthony Black had 19. And the Magic bench, they were led by Jace Richardson, who had 11. So the offense wasn't really there for the Magic, and hopefully it isn't really there tonight for them either, because the Blazers want to get that win. Get one in the W column, all right? Now, for your Blazers, last night's game. Let's talk about it real quick. They battled late. I told you in the 5th quarter, the theme for that game was the good, the bad, and the ugly, because the good was they mounted the comeback. They didn't roll over. They fought back hard. They got the lead late. The bad was that they got down by 20 points and struggled to find any semblance of offense in doing so as they were going down big. That's the bad. And then the ugly was the missed free throws. Portland, despite the fact that they went to the line over and over and over again. In fact, they went to the line 43 times. They only hit 29 of them. They left 14 free ones at the line. They shot 67%. Now, Pistons didn't shoot much better from the free throw line. They were 15 of 24. But they also took 101 shots, which was 27 more than Portland took from the floor. So they took advantage of getting a lot of shots. A lot of those were on the second chance because their offensive rebound numbers, they out-rebounded the Blazers on the offensive side 22-9. They had 19 second chance shots that led to 19 second chance points. So that was kind of the difference in this game. But as everyone says, when this happens, you lean back to, Bill Schonely, and you've got to make your free throws. Every single Blazer fan knows that saying, and they say it on repeat when you get games like that. It was pretty nasty work It was pretty nasty work to have that happen again. The free throw thing has got to be fixed. It's got to be fixed. Also, if you want to join the conversation, 88528 is the text line. One of our texters says, so who will win tonight's Chris's Crispy Crunch Time Awards? I noticed that it went from Chad's Crispy Crunch Time Award to Chris's Crispy Crunch Time Award. I like that. We're going to see. I need someone to show up in the clutch. That's the thing. And you know what? If they show up in the clutch, I'm going to take this segment. We're going to go approach Krispy Kreme, tell them they need to help us with a sponsorship, and then I might give you a cut, give you a free dozen glazed here and there, okay? We'll have some fun. But we'll see who's going to win it tonight. I thought last night Donovan Clingan played well, and Shaden Sharp, offensively, he was good scoring the basket. He was terrible handling the ball and turning the ball over. Had 8 turnovers in this one. That's going to be something to watch tonight. A lot of those passes in that game were lazy, and you hope that doesn't rear its ugly head again. But the fact that you bring this up multiple times in the text line about the Crispy Crunch Time Award, I love, but you're on to something because crunch time is crucial. And over the last few games and these losses that they have, crunch time, they absolutely falter. In that game last night, they made a great comeback. You can't take anything away from them. They were down by 21 points. They absolutely locked it in when they needed to. Of course, Cade Cunningham fouling out helped a little bit because they lost one of their best players, did Detroit, so Blazers took advantage, and they came back. But then crunch time happened. And in crunch time, they had turnovers. They had missed free throws. They had guys out of position. And that is something that needs to be fixed. When you get into those situations and you're missing the free runs at the line, you're turning the ball over, or, Tiago's yelling at everyone to try to get them where he needs to go. That's that crunch time award that you're talking about. So who will win that? You know how Coach brought up the box, and now they have that thing in the locker room to hand out an award to the guy every single game? Put your name in the box. You were the best defender of the night. They need a crunch time award. And we're going to have it here on the 5th quarter thanks to our text line. But they need to show up in the clutch, and they need to show up in crunch time. They showed up all the way up to crunch time, and then the last few minutes it just fell apart. In that game, they finally get the lead, and they have the possession where they let Detroit score, and then they inbound the ball, and Shaden Sharp instantly turns the ball over at half court. Detroit gets on the break. Boom, they get the bucket. 4 quick points. They grab the lead back. It's 103-100. And that was kind of the game right there. 103-100 because the Blazers only scored 2 points after that. Crunch time. Clutch time. You got to be there. You got to be ready for it. So this idea that you keep floating at us in the text line started as a joke, but Chris's Crispy Crunch Time Award, it's going to be a thing now. It's going to be a thing because we need people to show up in the clutch. I want to hand it out. Also, it makes me want to have a crunch wrap, so shout out. Also, shout out to my bum college football players who did hit the text line too. The good Hawaii, the bad Wyoming, the ugly App State. Hashtag Temple Tough. That's right. You guys know. College football 26. It's not beyond me to talk about that game either because it's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful game. I still need Brendan to play me, but he's afraid. Pretty sure he's afraid. He can't handle it. Brendan, we'll see. We got to get in on it. But no. So back to that, though. Crunch time and just playing a smart game. That's what I want to see tonight. Then crunch time, as much as we talked to just about the end game situation, what if you reverse it? What if it's the first 5 minutes of a game that doom you and the rest of the way you played great? Maybe that was your crunch time. To me, crunch time tonight for the Blazers is all 48 minutes. Start to finish. Back to what Tiago Splitter said on that last 5-game road trip. Treat every possession like it's gold. Every possession like it's gold. Be smart. Use your time wisely. Other little things that can make you a better team. Hopefully they learn from that. It was a quick turnaround. See if they learn from it just 24 hours later against the Orlando Magic. Tip-off in about 2 hours' time here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. We're going to take a quick break when we return. Speaking of Tiago Splitter, we're going to head down to the coach's corner, hear what he has to say ahead of this game, and continue to get you ready for Blazers Magic here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. versus Magic today here at Moda Center, game 2 of this 5-game stand. Also just waiting for our head coach Thiago Splitter to get to the podium, and as soon as he does, Brendan will let us know and we'll hear from the Blazers acting head coach and see what updates we have. Does look like Jeremy Grant won't play, and so do you get Chris Murray back in that starting lineup, mix things up and see what you can do. The injury bug is definitely something that is no fun right now. I will say that I did take a rare trip down to the court prior to the game. Usually I'm just up here with Chad, but I went down to see Shacker
he's there.
And give him a present, and saw Scoot out there, which was pretty awesome. And we'll talk about it in a second because Coach is at the podium. Let's take a listen.
Yes. As far as I know, yes.
Going into a couple days off and after the game last night, what would you like to see from the team tonight versus the Orlando team that you guys played pretty well, at least in the second half last time, and obviously didn't get the win?
Yeah, bounce back from, that game from yesterday. It's a back-to-back for us, for them too. I think the team that brings the most energy tonight is probably going to win. They like to run. That's how they score. They like to run and play in transition. So we got to be ready for that, run back, and protect the paint. So, yeah, whoever brings the most energy, that game's going to win.
You guys have been fairly successful, if I'm not mistaken, on the second night with back-to-backs. I think you're maybe 3-1 this year, or some recently you've been fairly decent. Do you have any thoughts in general why that might be?
No, I don't. I mean, sometimes it's what it is, but there is a little, guys are less fresh, in a back-to-back game, second night of back-to-back. Just gotta be, smart with the ball, take care of the ball, try to get good shots, and like I said, rebound, another one, 50-50 balls, all those energy plays. We gotta take care of those.
With everything going on with the team and the injuries and all that, do you find that it's better to be positive or to lay into guys? Like how do you balance that with the status of the things, Thiago?
I do. I think you have to. There's ways to teach them, to coach them, to demand from them, but you also got to be positive and love them. They're growing. They're learning how to play this game and how to approach every night. Just thinking about the coaches that I had in my career, some of them were just hardcore, but I think the way we are right now is, it's a long season, it's a lot of games, a lot of stuff happening, injuries like you said, but you gotta look at the bright side, and you gotta look at the guys that are getting better, developing, and encourage them to do their best.
Have you found that they respond better to that positivity, or is it kind of a balance of sometimes you do have to lay into them?
I think that's an individual thing. Yeah. So there are players that respond different from those things differently.
I know you've been a head coach elsewhere, but in your first year, do you find yourself recalibrating anything or looking back on anything or evaluating yourself at this point?
I do that constantly. After every game, I watch what I did, what I liked, what I didn't, but also, the past month, whatever. So I do.
Coach, Moda Center, there's no place like home. Talk a little bit about playing here tonight against Orlando and the opportunity to win a game at home.
Well, that's awesome. Play in front of our guys, our people, our family, our fans. They bring it every night. I tell the guys there in the locker room, they bring it every night. Doesn't matter. Come after a loss, a win, they bring it. We got to do the same.
Thank you.
And there you hear from head coach Thiago Splitter, and I like that last question about, always learning from every game, going and watching and thinking what he can do better, because he's thrown into this. We talk about it a lot, and obviously the situation with Coach Billups and wasn't ideal. But Tiago Splitter was hired to come in and be an assistant. And, you know, you're hired as an assistant and you're told, hey, this is your job. You're going to coach my point guards and coach my defense. You're going to coach my big men and you're going to help with my offense. And, you know, that was what Tiago Splitter was brought in to do, his specific job. And then one game into the season, that's flipped on its head, and he's handed the reins as the acting head coach. And, you know, it's been almost 30 games in, and here he is. And so, yeah, there's a lot of learning, and it doesn't upset me. And there's some people who get mad, oh, your head coach shouldn't be learning. Well, this guy wasn't hired to be the head coach. He was thrown into a job and, you know, just circumstances that we hadn't even seen before. And so, yeah, I think he's been doing a good job. I like him a lot. You guys know how I talked him up when he was hired as an assistant. I think he's a great hire there. But also, you look at like what he does in the game. I thought during the game last night there was a couple times where he was so vocal, and you watch him like yelling specifically at Shaedon Sharpe, like get down, crash in, because he wanted the double team on the guy in the paint. And Shea listens and gets in, and the Blazers almost force a turnover. And like he has a good idea of what he wants to see from this team. It's just a matter of getting the team to do it. That's the hard part. These guys, some of these guys, you know, haven't been in these positions. They're trying to learn, and that's not like the whole you know, give them an out, because at some point you got to stop learning. You got to start doing. I talked about it yesterday. At some point, you don't go to class to learn anymore. You go to class to take the test, to show what you've learned. And we've got to that point with a lot of these guys. We want to see what you've learned. Now, the best of the best of the best, sir, movie reference for all those who actually got it. The thing is, the best of the best, they still learn.
Burkhardt.
Thank you, Brendan. But the best of the best still learn. Every single day. Damian Lillard, you could go talk to him and ask him, you know, what did he learn about his game, you know, prior to the injury in Milwaukee. He would tell you what he learned. Because the best of the best always find ways to improve their game and get better. So you are always learning, but you're also taking those tests. And I need to see more of that. I need to see okay, there it is. It clicked. That one thing that player X has been doing wrong over and over and over, he did it right. And now you can tell that he's learning from those mistakes rather than just making the mistakes over and over and over again. And, you know, as Lenny from The Simpsons said, you know, everyone makes mistakes. That's why they put erasers on pencils. Okay? But again, you have the eraser on the pencil and you erase your mistake, and then eventually you learn, you know what, I'm just going to go draw with the Sharpie because I'm not going to make that mistake anymore. I know what I'm doing. So that's what we want to see from this Blazers team, is the ability to learn from those mistakes and get better, truly. Because you could say it all day long. Oh, yeah, they're getting better, they're learning, but we have to see that product. We have to see that product. Now, one of our commenters in the text line says, why does Portland take so many three-point shots if they can't make them? Well, maybe it's twofold. Because that's a fair question, but maybe it's twofold. One, it's the NBA where the three-point shot has completely flipped the game on its head. But maybe it's also the other end of that where you're building that offense out, even knowing you don't have shooters, because you intend to get shooters in the long run. And I think obviously you're going to have Damian Lillard back next year. He's one of the best in the biz. You're going to have the trade deadline, the offseason, and I still wholeheartedly believe that shooters are the priority for this team. And so you're building those habits into the offense. Okay, Denny, respectfully, City Sissoko and Chris Murray and Caleb Love might not be the 40% shooters that you want in the corner, but I need you to get them the ball because I need you to get used to how this offense runs, because if everything goes as planned and we get those guys who are knockdown three-point shooters, they need to be ready for you to get them the ball right in the shooting pocket. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's part of it. And, again, part of it's just because the NBA is the NBA, man. Everybody wants to shoot threes. Imagine going back to the late 80s, early 90s and telling all those centers that one day those guys, yay, you know what? You know, you get down in the paint and you're just, you know, getting beat up and you play in the block. Yeah, we're going to pull you out. You're going to start taking about 5 three-pointers per game. Shaq would be like, what are you talking about? I don't take those three-point shots. And now you do. Now you do. It's the NBA. Can you imagine Shaq out there? Yeah, I'm going to chuck it. I'm going to take those threes. I mean, it'd be beautiful. It'd be beautiful for every other team but the Lakers. You get what I'm saying? It's weird that the NBA's changed that way because, like, Donovan Clingan, he's doing good, but, like, every single time he takes a three, I'm like, oh, gosh, here we go. Here we go, another 7'3" guy who wants to take three-pointers. Get in the paint, my man. Get in the paint. Of course, his game down there needs to be refined as well, but you kind of understand what I'm saying. So I think those, like I said, I think those are the two reasons to it. And you don't want to change your offense too much at this point. You want to continue to build on it. And again, the guys who are running those situations, like Denny, even on a fully healthy roster, I know we talk a lot about needing point guards. Even on a fully healthy roster, he's going to have the ball in his hand and be attacking the rim. But you also need to learn that, hey, this is how we run these plays. So when you do get those shooters that you need so much, they're ready to go. You put the ball right in their shooting pocket and let it fly, and you start making shots. It's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of beauty. Just right now, you got a whole lot of Al-Farouq Aminus in the corner. I need some more Seth Currys. Need some more Seth Currys. Remember, like Kyle Korver was really good. Just give me the ball, I'm gonna shoot it. Mike Miller, Blazer legend, by the way, for like the 30 seconds that he represented the Trailblazers. He was good at that at the end of his career too. Just I'm gonna sit here, hand me the ball, I'm gonna shoot threes. James Jones, who was a Blazer for a minute, same thing. Just filthy. I'm just gonna sit in the corner, catch balls, shoot three-pointers, and make them at a high clip. Blazers need that desperately. It's a good question. I don't even, like, my answer is just a hypothesis. Might not even be the true answer because it's there's many answers to it. But thank you for the question. All right, this is Blazers Game Day. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. If you want to follow the conversation, you can head on over to YouTube.com, type in Rip City Radio, join the conversation there. You can also hit us up on the text line 88528, where the last comment said the Blazers must find bench players that are better than Murray and Rupert. Neither can shoot. And here's the thing, like, respectfully, like, I like Chris Murray and I like Ryan Rupert, but Ryan Rupert he's a fringe NBA G League player right now. Chris Murray is a decent guy to have on your game day roster, but he is the 12th man of your 12 active players. And they're put in situations right now where they're playing just absolute insane amount of minutes because of the injuries. Now, ideally, you want to improve so that you're 15 deep all the way through? Yeah, absolutely. But no, I think you're not alone in that assessment. I do want to give those guys credit though, because I think Chris Murray he's played well. He's not going to blow the doors off, and he's not going to LA as an all-star or anything. But I do think he's been put into various different roles and hasn't been able to find that real fluidity and that rhythm. And then Ryan Rupert is just he was drafted as a raw player and just still feels very raw, and that's not a great thing. So yeah, I would hope that they can improve on those positions, those end-of-the-bench guys. And this offseason we'll see, because I think a lot more vets would help, guys who know what they're doing. Like, there's guys, like the Kings came through here, and I was like, man, I really like Keon Ellis. Like, I don't know what it is about his game, but I like Keon Ellis. It's great length, great athleticism, can score the ball. It's not a star, but he does what you need to do. Like, find me a way to get Keon Ellis, I'll take Keon Ellis. I think those are more of the types of guys you need to get. Absolutely. So yeah, like you're not wrong at all in your assessment of Chris Murray and Ryan Rupert. All right, we're going to take a quick little break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, we're going to talk more about this Magic team, see what the Blazers can expect tonight. Hopefully it's not another Desmond Bane game winner. And of course, before we head out, we still got keys to the game to get to, all here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Get your mother loving you.
All right, you're clear. Live from the Coors Light Studios. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Welcome back to Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also hit us up on the text line, 88528, where we got a couple texts during the break there. I want to talk about them. And then one of them said, did Travis say Rip City or Rip City after City Sissoko made that dunk in the fourth quarter, I think it was. And the thing is, he definitely said Rip City. Not city, as in the Blazers slogan, but city, as in City Sissoko. And that is also something that Mark Mason does in arena when he makes a shot. Rip City! And I love it. It's one of the coolest plays on words and last names and the tie-in. Like, Rip City, not Rip City. There is a distinction, but Rip City is awesome. It is an awesome little nickname for City Sissoko. And I hope he continues to flourish and get better and better so we can keep it around. So that is the answer to your question. Yes, it was a play on his name and the slogan, Rip City, C-I-D-Y. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Also, we had a question on any word on when Holiday will be back. And the thing is, no idea yet. I did see Scoot Henderson doing some warm-ups today down on the court, which is good to see. But when people talk about the return to basketball activities that he was shooting, it was definitely still flat-footed and just shooting, going through the motion of the upper body. They're still not putting that stress through the hamstring. And I do want to point out, you have to be so cautious with this type of injury. I mean, we're talking about a full tear of that hamstring, and when that hamstring is that messed up, ripped off the bone, torn, and you got to go repair it, and you don't have to go get surgery or anything. You got to let that thing completely heal back. And especially with a guy of Scoot Henderson's stature, the way he's built, he's so muscular, you got to be real careful, because the thing is, if you come back early and that hamstring's not fully ready to go, you can get those compensation type injuries, whether it's the quad taking over because the hamstring is just not strong and ready to go, and that leads to quad injuries. You have the interconnectivity between the upper leg and the lower leg, so you got to worry about the calf injuries because of everything just tied into the hamstring. The tightness that comes with that hamstring not being able to move, which leads to tight glutes, which leads to possible back injuries as well, just because of the tightness of the interconnectivity of those muscles. So you have to just be very, very cautious moving forward, and they're being extremely cautious with him because the injury was a severe one, and the fact he didn't have to just fully get that thing ripped apart and tore up to repair it, he's just letting it heal on its own and going through these steps is a good thing. It's just got to be about taking time. So I'm glad that he's at least getting out on the court. The other part, though, was down there was Dame was down there taking three-pointers. Let me tell you what, it's that shot has not changed whatsoever, and he's still, he's still recovering as well. But he's out there taking those threes during his warm-up and just splashing every single one of them. So there's a little update on Scoot since we saw him today, and then obviously the injury. And Drew Holiday, haven't seen any word either. Just being extremely cautious with the calf strain. Obviously may have been a little more intense than we thought. All I know is if you have ever dealt with a calf injury, even just a calf cramp can be enough to make basketball tough. Like, I've had a calf cramp while playing basketball. I'm like, yeah, pickup's done for me. So the strain and, again, the interconnectivity, you got to be really, really careful with that. And we get one of our texters says, it's like you played running back or something. Well, I did. I bounced around a little bit. I didn't seek contact like a normal running back. I was definitely more of a Barry Sanders. I was a juker and jiver, shake you out your shoes, then beat you around the edge because I was fast. That was a couple decades and a couple dozen pounds ago, my friend. I don't know if I got that speed anymore. But, if the Blazers did run Spider to Banana effectively, they could win this game. So thanks for the football references. And then, look at this one. Literally the best pregame show ever. Keep up the great work, Chris. Love the recap from the games before, the fan interaction. Yeah, with the text lines, YouTube, the call-ins, etc. Well, thank you. Also, Hawaii's better than FIU because I know who sent that text. Awesome. But there's your little update. Hopefully that tells you what's going on. Now, I was talking with some of the members of the media. I was talking to Dan Morang about it last game, and it's like, so before, for the other day, we had a caller call in, and they were, what's the story on Chris? How did he get into the business? And that was on the 5th quarter. But here's the thing, before I got into the sports media world, finally, took forever to get in, I took time. I was a personal trainer. There's something you didn't know. So I was a personal trainer. I also worked as a practicum student with some of the strength and conditioning coaches at the University of Oregon. So again, the interconnectivity of the body is just absolutely fascinating, and how all that works is complex. And honestly, understanding how a lot of people don't fully understand how all that works is something that can be surprising. Like I could tell you right now, like if your back hurts, like you woke up and you have low back pain, more often than not, I could probably isolate that to it being your glutes or your hamstrings being so tight and putting pressure on your low back, and that's why your back hurts. It's not because you have a back problem. So it's really interesting how the body can work. And we're getting another text here that says, why aren't we getting updates on injured players when they are taking longer than the timeline that we're given? I think the fans deserve updates at least. And I think that's fair. I understand the fans are getting frustrated. But when there's no update to be given, there's just no update to be given. I mean, you had that with Scoot Henderson. The original timeline was the 4 to 8 weeks to be reevaluated and return to basketball activities, and then it was announced that there was a couple more weeks after that, and they haven't been lying to you. Like, he has returned to his basketball activities. It was never about return to play. It was return to basketball activities. And so you see him out on the court today running through his dribble routines, taking shots, not full jump shots, but still taking shots. That's his return to basketball activities. And I know people want the dialed in answer, which again, the frustration there, I could totally understand. And you want to see your best players on the court, right? So you want to know, hey, is it going to be 3 weeks? Is it going to be 2 weeks? I think it's the nature of some of these injuries. Like the injury with Scoot Henderson, like you can't put a definitive timetable on that. It's hard to say he's going to be back in exactly 3 weeks and then, we reevaluated. Okay, we got about 2 more weeks of rehab and we're good to go. It's just such a slow plodding process with his injury specifically. So that one doesn't bother me. I would be honest, though, I do think that it's been a lot more frustrating with the Drew Holiday one, because that was a quick strain, originally 1 to 2 weeks, and then it's been kind of quiet. You haven't heard a lot. So I think that one tends to be a little more frustrating than the Scoot one. The Scoot one I completely understand because of how sensitive that injury can be, and understanding that it's so hard to put a definitive stamp on exactly when he'll be back. The other ones, though, I can understand your frustration, and I wouldn't mind hearing some more updates as well. Even if it's as simple as, hey, guess what? So-and-so is progressing well. He'll be reevaluated in another 1 to 2 weeks. At least then you're not waking up every morning going, is he going to be listed as questionable or not? Is today the day that he comes back? So I would say you're not alone. You're definitely not alone in the frustration of wanting more updates. I don't have them, and I wish I did, and I wish we were getting some more here and there. But I also understand, at least with some of the players, why those injury updates are slow. Again, the Scoot one is just, they are taking their absolute time on this. It is molasses rolling down the side of the tree. They are taking their time. They are watching grass grow because they want to make sure this thing is 100% ready to go. And you can look at different players as examples. I mean, Zion has come back pretty quickly from hamstring injuries to play about 3 games and then sit out again because he re-injures himself. You got to be very, very careful with how you approach recovery for this injury. And again, especially with a guy who is built as muscular as Scoot Henderson is, because if you want to watch, it would not be surprised to watch that quad take over for the lack of strength in the hamstring, and boom, you have a bigger problem on your hands. So again, I understand that one, but your frustration is not invalid, and you are definitely not alone in wanting to get more updates from the team, because we all do. And I want to see this team out there with their full complement, knowing that full complement means everybody but Dame, because Dame isn't going to go this year, and we know that. But I want to see those other guys get out there and get them out there quick. So I'll promise you this, texters, and anyone else who asks, whenever I get an update and I know information, you will know it. you will know it. It will be either be here on the show or on social media. You will know it. Chris J. Burkhardt is the name on social, because as soon as we get it, we want to let you guys know, because we want to have those updates too. So we're going to do our best to help you guys out. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, we're going to hit you with our keys to the game. What do the Blazers need to do to get a win over the Orlando Magic? We'll let you know when we return here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Well, my friends, the holiday season is here, and the best way to celebrate
Chris Burkhardt here with you. Time now for our keys to the game. What do the Blazers need to do to get a victory over the Orlando Magic tonight on the second night of a back-to-back, which maybe will play in their favor because unlike Orlando, who was also on the second night of a back-to-back, the Blazers got to sleep in their own beds, put their head on their own pillows, wake up in their own houses, which does mean something here. It is nice to be home. And this is a team, Orlando, that has had their ups and downs. You look through statistically where they sit in the NBA. They are 6th in the Eastern Conference, so they're right smack dab in the middle of things. And you look statistically where they are. You look at points. You look at three points. You look at rebounds. You look at turnover. They're not bottom. They're not top anywhere. They're just kind of right there in the middle. So they're good enough to win games. That's the thing. And they're also bad enough to lose them. That's why they're sitting there at, what do we say, 16 and 13. So just a few games over 500. They've also dealt with a couple key injuries to some players throughout the year. But they've weathered that storm. It's a good team. I think a team with plenty of upside. Obviously, Paulo Banchero, one of the best young talents in the league. Franz Wagner, when he's healthy, has been absolutely incredible. Jalen Suggs is pouring on. So, they got a lot of talent there. It's just a matter of putting it together through, the entire season. Because, again, they have aspirations. They want to be a great team eventually. But how do you beat them tonight? I think you look at the blueprint. Honestly, the Blazers played them very, very well in that game in Orlando. It just came down to Desmond Bane hitting that game winner. So, don't let him get the shot. If you're down in crunch time and hey, we got to hold on to this lead, don't let Desmond Bane touch the ball. We don't want to see that again. We don't need to see another Desmond Bane game winner. But you look at the game last time they played, Denny Avdia had a great game, 27 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. Shaedon Sharpe had a monster 31-point performance. Jeremy Grant played well, as did Drew Holiday. Neither one of those guys will be in this game tonight. So that's going to be key, is who fills in that void and allows the Blazers to really get it going. And I think a guy I'm going to look at tonight, back to the idea of our texter set in of Chris's crunch time performances, crispy crunch time performances, is that I think Donovan Clingan is going to be crucial tonight. How do you defend in the paint? How do you stop guys like Paulo Banchero and Wendell Carter Jr.? How do you help the Blazers be extra aggressive on the glass? Because they got out-rebounded 50-38 in that previous game in Orlando. Now in that one, you had Robert Williams, who only played 14 minutes. Donovan Clingan played 30. He had 9 rebounds. He led the team in rebounds. But Orlando had Franz Wagner, who had 9 rebounds. Paulo Banchero, who had 9 rebounds. Wendell Carter Jr., who had 9 rebounds. Gogo Podazde had 5 rebounds. 4 rebounds from Anthony Black. They had 50 boards total. Everybody was cleaning. So I think this is one of those games where Donovan Clingan needs to clean the glass. Denny Avdia, who's been good on the glass as of late, needs to clean the glass. Tumani and Chris Murray need to be extra aggressive in that aspect as well, because I think you really, really need to not only get those defensive boards, but be extra aggressive on the offensive glass. Kill this team with second chance points. In the last matchup, it was pretty even. It was 13-12 in favor of the Blazers in second chance points, but this is the type of game I think you can really get going, take advantage, but you got to be on your A game, because otherwise Orlando's going to find ways to just rebound like crazy, like they did in that previous game, and that's going to put them in a position that you don't want them to be in, and that is late game situation and a chance to win it. You want to put it away. Do it on the glass. And then secondarily, it goes without saying, this is a key to every single game, but you got to be smart with the basketball. Be smart with the basketball. You could point to the turnovers in that game against Detroit and understand that very well could be a reason you lost that game. You had 18 turnovers as a player turnovers, and just 8 from Detroit. You need to be better. 8 of them came from Shaedon Sharpe alone. Control the ball, control the glass, control the game. Take down the Magic. All right, music means it's time to go. For us, not for you. Stay locked in here. It's coming up next. Curtis Long has the Trailblazers pregame show across the Trailblazers audio network. And then Travis Demers takes over for Blazers vs. Magic here on your home, the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. When it's all said and done, keep it locked in for the 5th quarter, where hopefully we're breaking down a Trailblazers victory. Rip City, I'll talk to you after the game.